Moses. Thank you very much, and we are picking it up from here. Yalama noi yesu ni senator kingang na kuta ruchukin kede Honorable Apolot, woman member of parliament na Okumi, Honorable Apolot. Yalama noi aruchukin kede Emuria TV ido ikoto ujailo lai tam in Teso in focus nisi uta ai tam kwenye luli ruchukina keda kron kamnara keda showman ido ikoto achao na ni jaijo kwape jo ijata jo kede. Thank you very much. Our viewers out there, we want to let you know that from our members that we have hosted in here, they have put it clear that COVID is not partisan. It does not have a party, it does not have a religion. And our children who are at home, they should be taken care of by you, whether you have a child or you do not have a child. Yes. The responsibility has come.
You see, to talk about ASSHU is a cultural institution, and we all in charge.
Puko kirangina kere ni buapakto se Emuria TV yalama mina Emuria TV. Today again we are moving on with our next episode of Teso in Focus. But this particular show we are going to talk about the future of education in Teso. Koto ni anyabuka kironi kamanara kede ngarene na showman ko Teso. Sololo ijataroni kede arering neraina sodit kape Emuria TV to host the national chairperson for the Association of Secondary School Head Teachers in Uganda. And he also doubles to be the head teacher of the biggest school in Teso and one of the biggest schools in Uganda, and that is Soroti Senior Secondary School. We want to thank you very much for coming to join us today. You're very welcome to this show. And we also have our very own, who is a senior analyst and a very interesting politician. Apparently he is a councillor in Emuria and a very superb man in analyzing the policies and a number of things concerning Apollo Note. So Moses Ochole yalama no ya ina kitakona pa kiducha janunu kede Emuria TV. You're very welcome to this edition of Emuria TV.
Thank you.
And this particular show is going to be moderated by me myself, Paul Opesen. And to start you on, I want to invite the head teacher of Soroti Senior Secondary School. Kaurianut, aina kina chane ja tekere. Nyobo Apollo na adokita itike kwape ngareno loepolo kiti ngareno kuli somero ikereo Uganda. Ido beponani pedo ratekere no Teso I made down. Arabo na ponani made atekere no Teso. Yala mane.
I want to thank the moderator. I want to thank Emuria TV for this opportunity that you have accorded to me today to appear and to discuss a very essential topic, the assessing the future of education in Teso. My name is Okiria Martin Obore. I am the head teacher of Soroti Senior Secondary School. 2 years ago, I was the head teacher of Ngora High School, but I also double as the national chairperson of the Association of Secondary School Head Teachers of Uganda. What is which is termed as ASSHU in short. What is the Association of Secondary School Head Teachers of Uganda? The ASSHU in short is their association that brings both government and private schools secondary of Uganda. Before COVID, we were reaching membership of about 5,000 schools. But COVID now has disorganized us, as you are aware, that some schools have closed. And now our enrollment is falling down each time as people are changing their schools to different businesses. There are those who have opted to change their schools into hotels. There are those who are hiring their schools now as residentials, and so on and so on. This is pathetic. Now, he was asking me, what is the benefit of our association, the association that I head of secondary school head teachers of Uganda? One is that it brings all the head teachers together. And by bringing all the head teachers together, we share experiences, we share new knowledge, we share a number of things that help in the capacity building of school, and that should, in the end, help to propel the education of this country to another level. I should also add here that our association is linked to other associations outside Uganda. It is linked to African Convention of Principals. Outside Uganda, even in Kenya here, the head teacher of secondary is not called a head teacher, they call him a principal. So in Africa, we talk about African Convention of Principals. And at the world level, we're also members, and we belong to that association which is called International Convention of Principals. That is the association that we belong to. So every time Minister of Education is making a change, a policy, we are normally involved. Like now we are talking about the lower secondary curriculum. The curriculum that should see that every product from all level has a skill. When a child is leaving school, he should have some skill. We are being involved. We are now talking about a new teacher policy. ASSHU has been involved, our association has been involved in giving input. We also sometimes get involved in when we are talking about salaries, the welfare of the teacher. And that is how we can benefit. When we talk of other benefits, when there is an opportunity, like recently there was an opportunity of NCDC distributing textbooks. As a national chair, I have to make sure that my region also gets the cake, the national cake. But I want to divert a bit, Mr. Chairman, and say that the topic that you have invited me to discuss today is a very critical one. Assessing the future of education in Teso. We are discussing this topic at a critical time, a time when everything in education is at a crossroad in this country. And it is difficult to smile at a period like now when tears are close to our eyes because of what COVID has brought. Let us first look at where has Teso come from. Moderator, if you can allow me go there first.
Yeah, sure.
That where has Teso come from? Of recent, we know that Teso has made a breakthrough, especially in the medical field or medical science today in Uganda. We started with Dr. Obore. Dr. Obore has put Teso in the map, and we had him appearing in parliament, and all we watched it with pride as people of Teso. The second person now putting Teso region into the map is Dr. Wang, who has come with significant research of how to fight COVID by producing a herbal medicine called the Covitex, which we think, if it is developed further, this drug is going to be unique in this country, administered orally. Most of the other ones are administered by injection, but this one is oral admission, and the whole world in time to come will reckon with the output of Uganda. When we talk about medical science, we also have Dr. Kure in Kumi Orthopedic Center, a man who has also made a breakthrough, receiving patients beyond Teso region, beyond Uganda, and even from referral hospitals to a one-man's hospital. This is a very good track record. When we talk about 2019, the education of Teso was at a track. We saw our schools attempting to produce quality students again with the candidates of 2019 at A level. You saw that Sorotes has produced a student who has gone for medicine. Morahai also produced a girl who has gone for medicine. She's actually doing medicine in Soroti University. We saw Teso College Aloyet producing boys who have gone for engineering in the universities. And so are other schools. Halishon also made a contribution. Jeresa has also made a very significant contribution. But this future, this record, this tracker record is now beginning to shake because of COVID. The Teso must begin now to think about the future of education in Uganda. We must begin to listen, we must begin to learn, we must begin to think what other areas are doing. If not, then the journey of education, the current journey of the education, might be walking into darkness. Because what is happening, we have a challenge of catching up with the teaching our students on TV. We have a challenge of teaching our students on radio. We have a challenge of teaching our students online teaching. And this is worse. So COVID-19, I would say, is becoming a curse in education system in Uganda.
Well, thank you very much, Papa, for making it very clear. Jainga muno be pedore kwani Teso amisiki nibonbe. Adoketa itikon kwa pe chairperson. Ijai nyeseru chokiniti Teso kede kwa pinachie otupteta adoketa mi mwalimun. Video da ngese pedori adoketa itikon nyesingara kiti Teso. Ipedori jo airab kara dire baju era baju ano engari nikite apolokinto ni some apolokinto ki somero ikere konye jai epogete ngon lo pedori Teso dumna ane jaijo otoma doketa itikon ido da mama poto do mutare ngin ko Emuria TV to congratulate you ikota angara renguna kara di apit to congratulate you upon that konye ibonguti enerino ikodo cho aidulo kini ikamana rakede akirongonunu ecovidex lo shwama professor Gwang osodi kini Aisha rakino radio ngesa kotoronga giara kede onacheka Moses Ochole kwape jo lo ijata keda piriano tungi na ibi arabonata ingich noi aidulo kina kironi kamana rakeda Apollo no Teso ijeni da bonbe ager na idum ne lockdown lo sodit abu wapu gani ichorak radio stations, TV stations, ani bonbe ishishana kino idue koreria kes ujiaru chokina ngino otomo TV otomo radio stations aponi chora kina ngoni radio station aina kina paktete radio perita ishisha pape jari kupanda bia ijo to maingi chikon akiro no e program lo abu apu gani chora radio stations bia imeda idue dobo are imeda idue bia ibo ibusakini te program lo ilosikina oponi alo dobi duele tia iwo mtijo oto maingi chikon emeda utwara emeda ulinete oto ma program katalo
na so dita program inshallah making senior citizen educationist and the viewers across the globe and you the host. By and large, I think it was a wise idea for government to suggest, though it was poorly implemented. The radios were not procured as agreed by Parliament. You also know that the situation of the COVID has trained kids to understand different things vis-a-vis understanding what they teach from school. It's unfortunate to cope up, in my view, to cope up atipatipe kode kona kirono epidorti period in washoman kapate si mwalimu kapata pugani. Idweli puko panlapa daete and they are exposed to so many things, little money, engagement with adults, political debates, and you know most of the teachers are quiet. It doesn't mean that they are stupid. So they are going to meet a situation of a student who seems to be knowing more than a teacher due to the environment. Loleme jidwe idweli puko pani. In fact, yomo waika, I am worried for Teso. Nara imamu auriaka lui puepedorete to afford a radio. Mama auriaka lui puepedorete to afford a television. Amauria kalu ipue pedorte even to afford a private teacher. Lo ibala jo bonbe saniki kadwe attach mojo il community amon. So the situation, it's not only in Uganda or in Teso. It's a global situation, including Europe. Idweli puko pani even in Europe. Mama pero even I saw online. Narai, the situation is unbearable. Neo ni neo ore. When you talk about urban students who live in town, maybe Soroti, Kumi, Bukedia Town Council, and Katakwi, probably they may have what they call secret learning against the government will. But as you know, officially the government does not allow any gathering. And there's no way that you will question the teacher or the teacher and say, why are you not giving us lessons? It is a pandemic, it's a global situation. And you need to understand that 40, I would say 70 years ago, the world experienced the same situation. During the World War II, a lockdown, akwapsine inu ipu, and mantuka permitted to access services. During the Spanish flu, what happened to the globe, millions of people died. So this is a situation, I want us to remain hopeful. That the teachers who are now charged with the responsibility of the children, it is society. It is society. The kids have moved from the compounds and the hands of the head teacher as head of institution to now a public opinion. So the public is 100% responsible to manage. They have a task to disengage the children from alcohol, sexual harassment, using them as marketeers, So the situation no longer calls for head teacher. The head teacher is also, I've been waiting for when will government open schools, because even him is a victim. He's with his children, the grandchildren at home. So ibole pola tekrami seeking nesi ona genuine. Baby I lost you to manage idwe lulukwa nila pada ete ore. Eche ure anileme just could idwe kanyari. They only meet in December. Maybe some abroad. Koje kopani ijai ore. You have also seen the increment ulo attraction of pesura medan in committing suicide, and you have also seen teenage pregnancy. The statistics has gone high. Who are these men fathering? Our kids' children are responsible men. So society needs not to take advantage of the situation of COVID and lament and say education will not get back. I am sure after the 42 days, after 1 year, it is not a district problem. It is not Ugandan problem. It's a worldwide problem. My humble appeal to the ministry is to adjust the syllabus. The syllabus. Teach students much now on skill. You have kids who have been home almost 3 years. They participated in election as agents. Some of them contested. I have my colleague who is a district councillor representing youth. He contested as a candidate in election and he won. As I talk to you, he is a district councillor 5, a same position with me. He is expected to go back to sit for senior 6. How do you expect him to relate with a primary or I would say secondary teacher? That calls for high counseling and guidance.
Well, Mr. Chole, I want to agree with you about that, and we want to celebrate Ejaka Itungon Labo too. Kwenye depeta ya Kiradis, apparently Neroni, Ejae syllabus law, eda utapugana igiro loda rolling out itegearta ikede iduelu senior 1. Bia ibo wa mishokoni, wamiti jobonbe ibusakniti ministry la shoman. Obonga inyabuka curriculum kere jula kinaito ni duelu Santos Kopanida from like senior 2, senior 3 to nangeta kinikere. That is 1. Then 2, according to your own assessment, what is percentage ani benefiting ata idue wokore automatisha o radio no kenu TV?
Na sodi takotongo I agree with him. I will say the change of this the syllabus. It's just an Asian countries. Japan, they teach technical work from nursery. A brain of someone, an average O-level student in Uganda now is 19 years. An average what? The one from urban is between 16 to 18. The one from the rural area exceeds even 18, 20 years. That is a man and a woman. Their brain to pick up the new syllabus, in my own view, may not be possible. I think my senior, they need to incorporate primary head teachers to understand that if you have to change the syllabus, change from primary. In a situation someone ends up with a P7 certificate, he has spent 7 full years in primary. 7, that's a very good period for someone to understand how to repair a motorcycle, how to repair a chair, how to make a table. You need to understand very well that there must be skilled labor, there must be unskilled labor, there must be semi-skilled labor. So you need to break down, the Bwangor types, the Botes and Hus, or Tonu. They went up to a junior. So government must put much attention to the foundation to make sure that the head teachers at the secondary level do not struggle to teach students what they don't understand. Lay the foundation from primary, make secondary a very easy area for you to pass. Number 2, you talked about the percentage. I think those who access the radio are not even 10%. Ask me why. In a rural area, parents do not take education as serious as the urban parents. Let me tell you. And most of the children were pushed to provide labor. So those who have access, I would say, are urban students. They have the television. The parent is working. The parent knows the value of education. In the rural setting, the parent knows that his role is to go and drink in the center and come back and maybe he listens to music. So it's also a task and a role from we the local leaders to move away from thinking that a head teacher can be transferred. If you meet a head teacher who is not bothered about education in Teso sub-region, he will say, I can be taken to Budo, and he can maneuver his way to be transferred. So I mentioned earlier on, including you, the Emuria TV, you need to understand that the problem we are facing now, it's non-partisan, it's non-religious, it's a global warfare that has hit us badly. We must own responsibility. We must talk to the students who are home to understand that the future belongs to them, not to us leaders. Then our responsibility is to drum them, encourage them that government will open schools. They will lift the lockdown, you'll be able to go back to school. And also mature men and women.
Moderator, I don't want him to lose 2 very important points that he has mentioned.
Yes.
That I would like Teso to take very seriously.
Yes.
He has said the communities.
Yes.
Where the children live today have a greater role than ever before. We must embrace these people all as our children. And we should understand that when they fail, that means the community is the one that has failed. I think that is a very important opinion, a very important point that he has made. He has also talked about public opinions. Our public opinions should now shift from being negative to being positive with what is happening. And he has put it very clearly that a pandemic is not a partisan disease. It's not a partisan problem. It is a global, it is a societal problem. It is a problem of everybody. Then the other thing that he has mentioned is about the change of the curriculum. He has said, if we begin only at secondary, it would look like we are trying to cut the tree from top and imagining that it is going to fall. But I wanted just to add and say that the good thing is that we're beginning with S1 and it will be rolled up to S6.
Yes.
And then the universities also. The curriculum is going to change. But at the same time, I am happy that the government has thought about the PTCs, the government has also thought about NTCs, and all those people are being trained now.
So in the new curriculum, it is also being rolled out to...
The new curriculum is being rolled to teacher training colleges.
Yeah.
And we believe that if it is rolled to teacher training colleges, then this business of the capacity building of teachers, in service training of teachers when they come to the field will not be necessary, because they will come when they are abreast with the new curriculum. So I am very happy about that dynamic change, that the TTCs should be trained, the PTCs should be trained, the NTCs should be trained, and then the universities should be trained on this new curriculum.
Thank you very much. Our viewers out there, we want to let you know that from our members that we have hosted in here, they have put it clear that COVID is not partisan. It does not have a party, it does not have a religion. And our children who are at home, they should be taken care of by you, whether you have a child or you do not have a child.
Yes.
The responsibility has come back to the community. So when any of our children loses out or gets pregnant, that means it is your problem, it is my problem. I also want to invite you to like Emuria TV on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and you can also watch us live on YouTube. Before we pick up from there, Papa, before we go for a break, I want to make an inquiry of this. Idwe woko ishana kino radio kedo TV lwegelegela. Bia ibo o kidwe lo Teso. Ajini teda bonbe idwe woko luipo Teso imamare ring na ijini pon laito same computer. Tete rekese pedoreti ara ikopana relations ngun through computer ara ibo pak na ishishana online. Bia iwamiti jo aishishangi no radio kedo TV o TV lwegelegela kwa pado Uganda ngara kito kidwe. Dobodo imwalimu nungunu lwe sekyo alosite aishishana kini idwe o radio nara yo TV. Epone bani esekerekesi. Nara ichie tunga ukawang na tamdusa ingita nari ichie mwalimu no balas da bonbo ichie to mwalimu na loyanga na radio stations. As if bala mami misi kitosi bore utasa ishana kini. Tebale jaitwe ni temo nukenda ekopa inkeso ba pedagogical no ishana. Bia ibo, how do we make a selection of them? Is there any policy at the district, at the region that decides epone lese kunere mwalimu lelosi to make a presentation on TV station or on a radio station?
Yalama no question. Akoto ngagiona temare be nana limu tenebe. E COVID ayena kikopani Teso. Aisisha no Teso. Asite bale losi ya muton. Are muton akwa kujeni boyo. Raya losi tuapa. Mama chepa kijeni ni chaki. Ngesi ejari kopana isisha no Teso kede COVID. Balo ni tuapa. Eneri na beidi. Ikidioko idwe luo Teso. Etupitos aisisha kopani kede o TV o radio kerane baka online kana na limu na honorable. Ikidioko noi ara enom percentage. Idumuni ochitik edite percentage la de baritomon. Otomadua kwatat. Ikidioko rosa de baritomon. Ido iloto kwenye jo chaloi. Achepa ki idumuni jobe 1% or 2%. Otoma kwatat. Idumuni achepa ki dopete bon. Are bon. Etam to say poop. Ne soma so TV. Ne soma to radio. Eja iboro lue tioko. First of all, itemoni by sisia online. Ajene wakopani somerono lue poloko. Leja si tungalue kiriaka. Ikeche due toma. Etamito. Dumute ngarerenga rereor somerono lue Uganda kere. Idumuni yobe etamitos. Kwenye kwa ngalimwani yo. Bibomu yo Teso. Achepa ke mwalimu nulichie. Eja sike da tunis. Na isisia online. So areja se mwalimu ndabere kada tunis na isisia online. Otupana rama merai apela ikinete keche. Batera apela ikinete ne jautene. Bikote boko somero na hii. Ilosi eche somero. Dumuni achepa ka computer dopet. A computer nare. Ikidoka computer na de parakani. Do idumuni jobe somero ngole jaske ni mwalimu akaisare kuju. a computer ngini ngesa na ita secretary a computer ngini ngesa to me master a computer ngini ngesa to me deputy a dobo de mwalima domu na remu na tira computer ngini so odumu yobe liberation is in Teso. Correct. If we asked all the teachers of Teso that here is the computer, now begin, there are very, very few who will be successful, including us even who are leaders. So liberation is in. Actually, the availability of resources. Yes. I see online. Kotojo pedori aipika ni kapun o computer aipika ni kapun o simu. Ido mambo bere simu lo tai ekotore simu le bakasetu ngakwa na be smartphone amdenga jeni jula ki automateso tijate mare be simula lalani
simu litosome lago
simu litosome lago yaba ma
ara go simu le lai
no ara le lago
yare jula ki automate ateso direct automa musugun be smartphone apolo ki simu le lai ni balon be simu Leta sama inyoni elago. Ano esimu aita sama elago. Ekoto yo paliti kapun. Eleso ne dopet. Arepi kaiti yo isirigi ni kidioko. Ade pare ilukumenika. Achepa kumamji dauni. Atebo biteo ni ngar na pupe ngombe beete taxi chia bunere. Abuda.
Biana keuna.
Bagya o le lago. So itete singin. Na yareit a computer ne jasi bala ne be etakan bala chichinga borono na uniet isomero no kere luote se just the electricity ido ine roni mama ne rano secondary bol erere uskonyoni primary it biroro konyenge na noi because isomero no lwe pulu chalo ya mama electricity dobo da to sama computer bia because etenene ne masasi lulu ipwekere to towni misa anai typing akechesom anai jukara kechesom. So iteone ationis be mamete ber. Na uniat aomo na oko tunga da. Ikidio kokana na limu no honorable. Ikidio kitunga we just kada aomo na kokonya. I don't know how to put it otoma Teso akokonya ambition. Ijoda akokoranu elo totitu ngakalanya na
ajawul kula loskinete ne pol
ajawul keda loskinete ne pol ekalanya ketunga the attitude the ambition to push things so that you benefit is also low. Dokonye bingole hari edweda what is the interest of our children inyoba omo meja kwesi ara ekoloje pole pukono ra kwesi edwe dai reki binyoba omo iko ken idumu nyobe mama chepa kedwe omo moete no iso otomo osane tomo nare lwe cha kolon ara ya pukono ra danye dwe idumu ni achepa kebe amomo na isomo rida chikan otomo sane tomo nare. So the self-interest among our children also to learn is very low, and this is attributed to they are not having or they are not being exposed to role models. Yes. We do not have role models. In a village where you do not have a role model, you'll find that even learning is really difficult. Because children should have a role model so that they say, I also want to be so and so. I also want to be so and so. I also want to be so and so. That's why I want to request our people also who have succeeded that let us have time to go back to our villages to interact with our people so that we influence their thinking. We have people that should be admired. Let us go to our villages so that we influence the thinking of the children by acting as role models. I thought I would say that one.
Yalama noi. As we go for the break, Honorable Ochole, when we get back from the break, we want to understand biebo ichu ijatatari ichu kada tapoet arabna aina petaita do pena ipedori ai ngarakini adoketait na ijaro ni kwa Teso kupani owaya la showman tetere kara deja sidore ujiai arabonati committee arabonati a program lo buni archipakle lo muti from ichu lo pedori ai ngarakina teker ido de program la archipakti okodu tebo bo kingarno kodo to maira beta ngina bija assessing na kwa pena dati auction wenere headmaster ebe che somero e mamete kada computer imwalimu ni cheda de computer illiterate bia ibusa kiniti ichuti aingareni kini eriong'etelo ti ashoman kotoma o corona lo duboti ponani epedoro ichu aingarain inaini you will respond to that as we come back from the break. But we also want to encourage our viewers out there. Today is a very special day. Ninera rona kroni kamanara kede ashoman araija ijo kwape jo umame jo aina peta itaru ndai tapo et kwape jo bona sesene ngaren oto maina peta kono to mashoman aro mame twene ni sesene jo kwape na nabala red master at shepact. That is the reason why we have itungali pu in the security department, especially being employed as security guards. They may not be serving the nation, but instead they might be serving different security firms. Mami balabe roko ngunoi konyedo neninge sibia pero Teso anangakin arabija iti adokta naiki ona nai pero na dolere yala mane. Let's go for a break and then we shall come back. Thank you very much.
Era tukoto na Teso na omitingo bengini Teso tokere ebeitu jasi kudalo skinet na yuari ichu mama kote tamtama ni po ngamena tukoto aswam kunye jasi ichu kule education fund araida edit. We need to consolidate. Nobody Teso kulu ibo eto South Africa, ibo eto Malawi, ibo eto Botswana, across the diaspora. Nyo ibo risoma ite kwesa iganga tukoto. Tapito nduchu alile mwe Buganda gogongu. Konjidu muni yo inu Uganda libo eto kenga etuketi kapun osote aare moini icho. Na so did the media faranti es a bit consider to popularize atukoto ngini. Ara ipaprasi ara atukono no we narrate ye muto kwesi a bait kwesi la kure responsibility to feel proud about ichu, to contribute to ichu. Yes, e jano no konata disadis no ja tukoto konye yo in my view ara da Buganda jitu alite pegete the Buganda kingdom, but the kingdom will continue advancing its interest and agenda. Etupakinda bobo awon kapata kerna Teso mame koto ijuala utiboro asoto nene ribichu be head teacher be semero bo chole. No, I have my responsibility now to play as a leader to ensure that yokso Teso neja ikeuno ara musho ne priority indunga domon Emuria usoda bobo akutonga maiki na tekere iloto nesaniki ni duwe woko semeroi aminu na tukoto na baka ichu asoto ne I am very privileged. I out kudeja kaitine la polonde ya itisemero lo head teachers egwa iki bitunga ngulu mamu erasi urani lo Teso libo eta no Teso tieta chite epo kade rai kapune lukumiti osodi duwe ilwe somete ne ekero Teso tieta chite kapuna kotakai. I am much aware bijasi Teso born kodi students in the parity 200,000 students ejasi ne Teso 200,000 ele mutu ne peta isirigina kotakai epiro atukodo nichu ajia kode over 100 million per term limited kapunu under PTA bole milukumini yara kamni lukumiti primary secondary both private and government konye mamera kisila pugan segira studenti asoma kirongu imamini yangari yo awsani unless the district council makes it as a bylaw, because chamaita district ana etutubi kisela le pedorete gang local initiatives etupakinda bobo iriko ni gira nari duele po Kampala je head teacher ne lo opotu isemero ikere lo Uganda oseutu bichojo ni ngare bikiso konye jadu muna basi ni moyi engare semero lukumi ni kai lukumi ni lu duwa lo Teso ilo seta gang education ngina wakiso Kayonga Mukono Entebbe and Kampala. It is about the attitude. Mam ngaje campaign na balaro mabebo seutungo mam ara imamo ni kapate kena Teso ilo sara unulu ipoga katuko to woko ilo ipoga kode ingare no ko woko lo ipoga Professor Maswa hello muta no chalu kolo ichi paka iso paka lo sidi Geneva asam ko United Nation and in World Health Organization pui doctor na luma mu alelo si marimara so ikoto ni tunga achamon wipedo na julaki ni Teso aripedo na ijulu ai jene ni tunga mami chu evipira doctor bela ai dai tunga center na bibu nyote basunga bibijai so Oboro tupuchu masunga bijasu kusai Oboro. So I think the attitude, the mindset, the behavior, the character, a political will from the leaders to push us to kotonga rain. Do dena tukoto da inyo ibori so ma tukoto. Ida to stonga anyo. It is a bit of a problem. Le koto I mean papa mori. Asa untungala rasi robust. Le pedorete to sell the agenda of issue. I search amidi chongina PI nelimne ba Obore I search atiaka bita solo Emuria bita solo Kumi bita solo Serere no the disunity na inerai mame koto rai ni inerai okinga inerai otogo bijo beru bitia kara jo lailo ijo itia kara jo lailo konya kuno alimoki ni jo eriko situnga eyo ntosi Teso eriko siteso echoak eriko siditeso egogong eriko Teso epiriaka so attitude na inerai community change of mind proseura kalipu atingit anaverenya lukumna kwa tangon dodo jo angar ko atamu adopebo ni mbali do jinya kuniko kusuruti konyi pero ja angar ko kunsorota ses osodi jo monitoring egwa ekino hostel semeru. We are talking about education. Oyangi koku hostel lonyo esemero. Konye jauriani aina kinetone lo itekere pipikla boda ang para pese ayaun. Do janga pese room ara ilailo pamba. Itumara jauriani be japesa yi osemero. So idumuni jo kami sikin bonbe ara imam itungelo sete ejo lakini aijen also the resource mobilization abeta tukoto kapa nichu eso amana kore technocrats anwa maiki ntungabe akuru kwa nipedo roni kurwa limoki nijo itunga lo kampale tachete esemero anu egwo kitibora ko igwen anwa ipe achok anwa ipe nyo. We must be proud of our culture. We must be proud of what we have. Nesi pedo roni itunga lu ipuko lole somdozo wa professor ingiti jo la papa kechi mama pero vene warike kiror konyaji itunga anyulu be agulare kamo anu angar ka ko miningora agulare kamo angar ko kamurieses agulare kamo angar ko kupayonia angar ko ka cowboy. I think the mindset we need to do is the community to support any initiative. We are talking about education. Euriaka elementi kapun aina ni PTA ilimuji lukumini itomon abati na kwangan erai 26,000 mambere community kone pedori anyong. I am championing in my sub county to make sure erika kata me dauna akoto nsemero yare orasule perio. That is the way that we can manage to cope up with the other schools. You go to nepene palisani ilele by semero opukoje semeron ane oteso ejaitunga omomobe be performance esodelo sis mwalimu akokoto ne nyito anweri unauria kabebe kasemero nesinyo etubi konyito tojo Buganda olotojo Northern Uganda esemero in the village, deep in the village ejata a population over 1,000. You find a population one in the urban settings in Teso anubonyo ekotitunga jinunbe nepukorere esemero kere angiko kunenfo is a monitoring ipero jodan. I don't know are rikedi master ijawne parents are responsible lo epote be babutu be nganyu na koka bi ebolo le jo semero awlo savu avu ya kangun e ba sawu ya kabe visitation ine sego kta kokor esego kte matoke esego kte juice they are actually showing showbiz, they are competing parking vehicles kwenye mama ule nilo buni kode gali the other critical thing masete sap alo secondary masete jai nyameta kubere tubara twene kode gali esa pelo sorotesa simoni you don't expect a head teacher anyu no office ke they remember first sorotesa anyu no be way. So when we talk about community responsibility kotoja anyu no bonwe araida, of course there are challenges the children's rights, human rights konye mame kisili miki jali mun ko dai tok bi jobalu euro ni policy. So education abongu boyesa da kwa because of the morals etwela titinti kapun ekobe da ngapa pese ekobe da pero ko da pesa nyini ekobe first of all even angoro nutie kiswa maite, but it's exceptional saying, very exceptional listeners konye ikilio ko basbe ekwesa berune did around his second wife. Why do you spoil someone's in future to meet your project? So you need to understand inachana oko lutekereti gali inachana oko lu isomete sekriko private companies erasi contributors la pesuru ajana nikininyo asomani era ina research le swamata idumuni jo ipakisa kitu pese mura pesuru ipakisa kitu ina katunya osodi jo secondary sexual harassment idumuni jo ejabi mwalimu nuda lui toso maete akirongun mwalimu lule disha kabala jo abuburikin bo kwesi dani ja pese na edit. So mama pese yine epelo to concentrate na hara ijaija tukot ejo imakinga ike nyito. So atuni sida bobona facing us so mano teso ne polo noi adamwa limokini jo ichan osodi jadumun mami community podo kiti duwei osodi duwei ayawlu tawu di duwei la pada ijawre na ipali kapunbe ediko kenga ngala jobi ba somberi ngoda mamu ngalo sa chamne hostel lo mame rai attached to a school. You must be responsible or loto semeri jaunja admission. Ask the head teacher be semero ba hostel ba ni iswa matoto resu kapa soroteses hostel ba iswa matoto kapa mjeresa olila halisho. We have better schools in the region konye it remains the attitude nginto na balabe are mama lo si Kampala are mama lo sita yi bunga nyoa nepa me kapa luchalo also da nyara ngogane president ka chipapula anyuta muria. So I think the policy should be the mindset.
Thank you very much, Honorable Ochole, for those very exciting points that you have put up. Teso in Focus is the show that you're following, and today particularly utener itamtam eponelo ikroni kamana kede ASSHU mano to moteso e contribution la shoma no to mapolo no teso e pogetele pelo ASSHU mana yaun to mateso ibiro jodai bwa pakinso otomo Facebook. You can like us, you can leave your comment on Facebook, you can also follow us on Twitter and leave your comment. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Honorable Ochole enera kroni punoi achia kese tweke na soni are nera ngesi bonbe dumuni jitunga jetare tunga kede angoro nutie kimepedo ta swam kwenye dumbo jetwendo poti ekoto bidwelo didi kalbe somero. And that should bring us to the next point of discussion, head teacher. College o lockdown aji ajina ngoto madokta itikon ipido jo jatatar kede statistics linara kinete ajena bonbe apoto idwelu pesurli potutu ibongneti o lockdown aji otomo somero ile gelegela idoda kopani ineroni jasi chielu apotutu do ajele mbe bongnete bobo somero bongnete adomu bongi pubo golwe lu apotutu isese noni soto na ibwa na krone nera Honorable Ochole be chetu ngalu ngesilu isoma ite security osojiro kole gelegela abura tiche kilioko loje tatake da beru do betwe na ibwa pakitiko kweninyo ine somero otomo omi shokon bia ibo aibe jatunis tete riduele bongorote jaskera kesauria dobe bongnete somero nele meja tataro somero mame potunete kwenye meja tatari duore ibongnete bobo somero ikotai epotiete. Where is the problem? Can each have a hand to this effect? Can a family have a hand to this effect? What can we do? Teso. Teteroni wa nyini bonbe kara ija ikina aja uno rekere idu ya pak na iwoja. Obongne tidu epone pelo shiata.
Thank you for that question. Where is the problem so that many of our students, many of our girls got pregnant, especially during the lockdown? Where is the problem? And that is a cardinal question today. I have only forgotten, I had some estimates of the children who got pregnant from our discussions as head teachers, but I do not have them now in my fingertips. And I don't want to talk about how many because I don't have the accurate figures. But I want to discuss where is the problem. The problem begins from home, that many families have not given children support to build a character that can say no. So the problem begins at home. The father, the mother have not helped to build that character in the girls where they can assertively, with the emphasis, say no to a man who is advancing to them. The second one is not providing necessities. There are certain necessities that the children need to be comfortable at home. Now, when you don't provide these necessities, the children begin to think that the person who is providing the necessities or the person who promises to provide the necessities is loving them. Yet, in the actual sense, this guy is taking advantage. It is not love, but taking advantage. It's exploitation. That is the second one. The third one, like my brother said, is the public, the society. People have sit down and watch, and sometimes they even cheer. You see somebody advancing to a smaller child, a young girl, and you are cheering, and you are calling him a conqueror. And you know, amidst the boys, they will be talking about how many have I conquered and so on, which is very embarrassing for us. The society should wake up and begin to rebuke people. When you see somebody moving to a smaller child, begin to rebuke. If you're a neighbor and you see that a neighbor is bringing a school girl, I think you should rise up and rebuke. Like my friend has put it very clearly, Boda riders, he has talked about bicycle riders, he has talked about the security officials, but there are also other places, entertainment centers. These boys who like entertainment, they call themselves the DJs, they call themselves celebrities. They are also among the people who have highly exploited these smaller girls. They must be rebuked. I am very, very happy about what Honorable commented. Allow me first to comment about ASSHU and a hostel. He talked about hostel, that we should also begin to think about taking our children to hostels. And I'm happy that the RCC of Soroti City, Honorable Adiama, one time talked about getting time to monitor hostels when schools open up. And he said we should monitor the hostels with the DEOs, with the District Inspector of Schools, and a hostel that we find is substandard should be advised to close. The hostels that we think have mechanisms and are living to the expected standards should be given a license. And those are the hostels that we shall recommend the parents to take their children. And the hostel must provide, one, there must be lighting, there must be good sanitation, there must be water, there must be security for the girl child. It must also have some bit of medical service so that they are able to handle emergencies, not only for the girl child, but even for the boys. So I was very excited when I heard him talking about that idea, so that we ensure the safety of our children. Now on ASSHU, any cultural organization is admirable, and I believe that they rise as a result of the need of people from that tribe or from that culture. ASSHU definitely has a vision. It has a purpose why it was established. But unfortunately, you begin to pose ourselves these questions. how much have we supported ASSHU? What have we ever contributed to ASSHU to make it strong? Like in Buganda, anybody who marries from Buganda, you have to buy a certificate. That certificate is a fee, and that money goes directly to ASSHU. And it is only ASSHU that produces a certificate. So whether you are from another tribe, you marry Muganda, you have to buy a certificate. Whether you're Muganda, you marry Muganda, you have to buy a certificate. Whether you are a Muganda and you are marrying from another tribe, you go and register your wife with a certificate because now she has been brought to the Buganda culture. And those contributions help to strengthen and support the cultural organization. You come to Teso, I think you have only blamed them, you have never supported them. You are like people who are preparing to milk a cow that you don't feed and expect it to give you a lot of milk. That is ASSHU in Teso. I want to assure you, right now, assuming they say the Murmura has fallen sick, how many people would be willing
to take up the
responsibility to ensure that this old man is treated like they do in Buganda? When they hear the Kabaka is sick, everybody is trembling. Everybody wants to contribute. Everybody wants to be associated. And there is data, and the districts will be involved, all the leadership. But that is the step that we need. I want to thank the cows and the LOC 5s that used to contribute. I don't know whether they are still contributing.
We're going to discuss a council.
They used to contribute something. They used to contribute something to Teso, and that would help. I have listened to those people in ASSHU speak in burials, in what you will see that these people have an idea. But in everything, every program, you need to be empowered.
True.
Allow me also touch about a teacher.
But maybe as you touch about the teacher, I also want you to connect this in your response after you have made that other presentation. Be able Teso. Arabona be able Teso. Eroko eperamu nachi a jaun bonbe kara ide down e lockdown lo. Ibuni ne accuracy na ikamana kide a performance otoma nikini a showman after the COVID. Biaibo ebuna bongo kin kwape koloe utapolo arabebu ndado ere kwapo airanya kindo chut. As maybe after that, maybe you can also put this clearly.
Like I said, our education system right now is working in darkness. We must begin to think consciously about our destiny. We must not make a miserable finish at the end of the day. So we must begin to build our education system again. Otherwise, for now, it is a destiny of hazard, a hazard destiny. I would want to say that there are a lot of dysfunctional systems in our education system right now. We shall have, in order to build the Teso that we shall be proud again, we shall have to change our roles a bit. The role of the DO should change. The role of the DIS should over-expand. The role of the boards should expand. The roles of the PTA should expand. The parents must get motivated. This business of, I'm sorry, I want to mention this as an anti-Teso. The biggest problem why many of us in Teso are failing the education of our children is that we have decided to become factories or industries. We manufacture so many, including some religions that support people manufacturing so many, producing so many children. We are not thinking about family planning. You are a peasant. You depend mainly on agriculture. And here is a situation where you have 10 children and 8 of them are entering secondary. You are a border, for example, and you have married 3 wives, and each wife is giving you a minimum of 5 children. How are you going to support the education system? These are some of the things that we have to soberly think about quality than quantity. So the role of the boards, the role of the PTA, the role of the community leaders, the role of the LOCs has to begin to change, and everybody must begin to dream and talk about education.
Thank you very much, Papa. I'm sorry, I will have to cut you short. Inere lorona kroni puno imikamana kede ASSHU mano Teso. Ti atakatipata de parnenda kwenye kanwapa apaki. I'm afraid ilosioni lolo abuo nuberanin ikamana rakede ASSHU man Teso. But maybe before I will wind up, akironi impuni kamuntosi yesda apo karabonati luisesenete so kingang na kesunu bonbe. Akironi kamana rakede ASSHU man Teso ikamuntosi joda. Akironi kamana rakede ichu erokojoy arabunate moro arabunate rokojoy nyita berebe nyubo esoma iki ichu Teso nyubo esoma iki ichu arabunate tungalo Teso jobera igia nyita kinbon nyubi soma iki jote ichu. What has been your contribution to ichu? But as we wind up, I want to request my brother.
Maybe just let me now mention this about a teacher, because I wanted to reach there.
Yes.
That a teacher is a very pivotal person in education system. When we talk about a school, you cannot talk about a school that does not have a teacher.
Sure.
The school cannot be a school without a teacher. As a Teso, we must also think, like Honorable put it, about motivation of a teacher. We must think seriously about the motivation of our teachers.
Yes.
What is our contribution to PT? Are people contributing willingly? So that the head teacher should be able to give that teacher something. And that something is what you will use to drive the teacher to the classroom. Sometimes we have left it and talked about government. Even where we know, like for example, right now, the staffing of government is at 52% nationally. But I want to tell you that there are schools where you go and the government staffing, even for government schools, the government staffing is at 40%, at 50%. The rest of the teachers should be paid by PTA. And how many of our people are willing to pay that little money in Teso to motivate these teachers? This is the attitude that we are talking about. Otherwise, we shall remain physically vulnerable. Thank you.
As I conclude,
As I invite you, Honorable Moses Ochole, just your closing remarks in a minute.
Nasodit esonapode na showman. Let's embrace the teachers as partners in education, as key stakeholders in education. The other second thing, Emuria kale to support education of private schools. Ititing toijo, we have fair schools in Teso, Okiria SS, Harishon High School, Ujeresa, Olila, and others. Idwele pedorete aitube job.
Not Okiria SS, Okiria Lifeline.
Okiria Lifeline.
Then comprehensive.
Idwele pedorete aitube. We still have our giant schools, SS, Ngora, Teso College, etc. Idwe ilu sesenete so lago. From P4 a Choi Koku, Pedokoku Ajeneke future. Idwele pedorete kwesa yanga riborulu a joka kakata kirit, empira or games. Schools bwana head teacher promote. Idwele pedoralo sitagwe kinoni. Do pedote kwese wadika kode isom. Esibore kwani a pool. Era if footballer li pedore to read and write. Ipedojo to account for your money. The church Olome kanisa toma to support head teachers. Head teachers, they have problems like human beings. They cannot, put their pocket money to support a semero. Also, that regular, visiting your child from primary to secondary. Many people withdraw money from the banks in town. They have their workshops here. How often do you interact with the teacher? A classroom teacher, askari. So I think we have moved from I care to I don't care. In my view, parents just want to say, it's not even bothered. So the situation is alarming in the whole country. Konyo reda, we are not doing well. Sakotongo a lip head teacher, ijolo e police merongo, you are head of the government secondary schools in Uganda in that association. Bia iboiga ngaito jo dai Teso. Emme down opposition ikoni. Also the Teso lu just diaspora. Abongta duko tore. Na itapito ni NR no Ghana. Mamngalo sebule mingichu. We need to be responsible as a region. We need to be responsible as a tribe. We need to be responsible as citizens. But also students from high school must equally be responsible. So boda angana rijerum te yo pamba, erum te yo tesoin, dali mojo be mamli mon papakoni. Ari nyama do berjo da ibore ido jijimi ko jalaki. So we need to also equip straight talk. Abongo straight talk. Ara nudo kana ponda smartphone idwe da ludidike jaso lago.
Yala mano honorable Chole angeta kinete kon ya ujo aingiset na eteng bondo ikunya kiti neja i Apollo Clinton arabana lo ingare nikiti ingare no ko isomero ikerelu senior otomo Uganda iponi lo ebe to rekoni ya pesi arabana kona do keta arabana ta pedor na ina kita ijoto majaka ntami aingara kina iteso tetere e patanari iteso asesene ko bibureni busa kinit kesa eme down otoma ijo kunari jo abongo kini utaje okanairi kakin osodi jo aina kina kona kero no egolo kinete otomo ine ra lo pero ya terekin ikamana rakede itungalu Teso ikamana rakede isomero ilu Teso ikamana rakede Oria isomero ikaidwe igolo kini jo.
Yes, yala manai you have challenged me be upon bale pedara Teso da me down office ka Obore ne Paul ena kina Tesa me down his first again akira na imori kikin. The unity among the head teachers, that we should begin to see each other as partners but not as competitors, even when schools are neighboring each other, because we are talking about the child, not about our personal schools. I am happy that during our tenure with my colleagues, some of them have retired, like Ochatu, and many others. We started the regional mocks, Teso mocks.
Yes.
This was our brainchild. And the Teso mocks would give opportunity for our teachers to set, for our teachers to mark, for our teachers to share marking guides. And so in the process, we started helping each other. That was one. Two, sharing of seminars. That even when a school cannot travel to the other ones, we are encouraging them to share questions, seminar questions. Your school sets, my school sets, we share that partnership. The other is that before the lockdown, we wanted to think of UNEB training. We wanted to see how we could have partnered as head teachers of Teso. I'm talking about Teso first. We wanted to see how we could have partnered as head teachers of Teso and invited senior UNEB examiners to come and train our teachers on how marking is done at UNEB. So that is critical because they will get the skill of how exam is set and how marking is done. The other, which was just going to take place, was the training of all the head teachers of Teso by NCDC. NCDC is going to train all the head teachers of Uganda, but the first place was going to be Teso, Eastern Region. It was going to be Teso in Teso College. It was going to be in Mali. It was going to be in the Toro Girls, and then in Kamon College and Ginger College. We had purposely agreed that I get to be recorded because they say charity begins at home. Unfortunately, Obumbo they COVID. So that would have also helped head teachers. Each time they collect, they would share a number of things. Also, in terms of quality, we were also thinking that we will reach a level where we could begin to share teachers, not selfishly and not promoting part-timing, but where you can invite a teacher from another colleague's school following official procedure. Angiyata ina akote ngatemari kwanita ni Gauria. Bauria kacho itosberwani ike drugs limena limu topa kejaye. Losuwa bejaye Apollo, losai mata Apollo ne jidwe, lostakiro no entertainment Apollo ne jidwe. Lostakiro no abole asine Apollo ne jidwe. Yes, oja abole asine konye age utuberaisi sha yuko nitabole asine abunere as a co-curricular or extracurricular. Kwa emere ngisi singa renio as the first thing biror yalama noi
yalama ikota shalami kineskere following and loving Emuria TV. From the look of things on this table, our glasses are down, our bottles are down. It simply shows that this show has come to an end. We want to thank you for being part of Emuria TV. I want to thank you for loving Emuria TV. Keep sharing, keep liking on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube. And we want to thank you for being part of the show up to this very end. It has been very nice and wonderful sharing with Honorable Moses Ochole and sharing with the chairperson of ASSHU, the Association of Secondary Schools Head Teachers in this very country, Uganda. Catch up with you next week on the same show, Teso in Focus. Thank you very much. It has been me, Paul Opesen. Thank you. Ajala kisangolo pateke, ajala kisangolo pam. Ai puma ina ikoto kwa Teso. Ajala kisapiti na Teso, ajala kisapiti na. Amina na ra ikoto ikatunga. Isolo tai katunga, ai katunga, mwanga nyune katunga.